killed Alec Holland? Or rather, who thinks they killed Alec Holland? Because we all know what actually happened to him, right? He becomes Swamp Thing. But that was a big cliffhanger of this first debut pilot episode of Swamp Thing, the DC Universe TV show, appropriately named Pilot. And what did I think of it? I thought it was very suspenseful and decent. They're definitely building up, ramping up to the, to the Swamp Thing, for it to become a show about, like a plant beast and versus the forces of evil. Although I don't know, there's no like creature for him to fight yet. I guess unless it's going to be him, fighting regular people, like whoever killed him, that, conspiracy, or there'll be some other plant creature which will be created like in later episodes for him to fight. Because right now there's no supervillain, so to speak, or other creature for Swamp Thing to be mixing it up with. So, but he can just be fighting, regular like, crooks and criminals. Like whatever organization is dumping this strange, chemical into the lake to, to start the mutagen mutating to make people sick, and it's affecting the plants. This was a good episode. It didn't feel so much like a superhero or a comic book show. It felt like I was saying in my last Swamp Thing video about the most recent trailer, it felt like a medical procedural. Like, a crime / medical procedural, and with like a lot of, drama, soap opera stuff going on. Abby is, kind of, on the outs with Maria Sunderland and Avery Sunderland for whatever happened with the daughter. She seems to be developing, well, I think she's going to have maybe a romantic relationship with the cop, Matthew Cable, and also possibly Alec Holland. There's a budding love triangle, I think, that's going to be brewing between them. She has this old friend. There's all these people on the show who have all these connections in this small town, and they might be like hooking up or being attracted to each other, and there's people who don't like each other. It was and meanwhile there's a murder mystery, right? Well, not a murder mystery, but this strange disease or people, dying and stuff. So it definitely has like a soap opera / murder mystery, crime drama element to it, which isn't exactly what I think a lot of people would have expected from a Swamp Thing show, people who know Swamp Thing. But I think it's very interesting that the writers and the directors took that approach. And I think it'll work for this show the way they have set it up. There's not much, I think, to say about this episode. I mean, it is good, but, it's like a lot of the stuff that's going to happen, I think, is going to be in later episodes. Right now, this was all set up. We got to know more about Abby, her past, Alec's past, and the past that for Alec and Abby they put on the show were not like the comics at all. Abby didn't have anything to do with the Sunderland family or their daughter in the comics. They created that to, I think, ramp up tension for the show. It's the same how in Doom Patrol, how they tied the Chief's background to Dorothy's origin and to the ant farm to make things smoother from a storytelling perspective when those three characters had nothing to do with each other in the comics. The same with Swamp Thing, right? They're tying in, Avery and Maria Sunderland's past to Abby's past to, I guess, make things, just streamline things for a dramatic effect and make it easier for them to just weave certain story elements together. And as for Alec, his history of forging, those false results for his research, that's not in the comics either. Alec Holland, at least not in the ones I've read. I haven't read every Swamp Thing comic made, but in the ones that I've read, Alec Holland was supposed to be a relatively stand-up scientist. Or at least, there was nothing in his past where there was corruption or him faking stuff. But there might have been some issue of Swamp Thing I haven't read yet where, they have a storyline where Alec Holland was kind of a bad researcher or a bad student and was faking stuff. But I think they meant that up for the show. Also in the comics, the origin of Swamp Thing is different from what it is in the show, right? In the comics, Alec Holland and his wife originally, Linda Holland, who doesn't exist on the show, they were creating a biorestorative formula to stimulate growth in plants with the idea that it could be used for good purposes, like to stimulate growth in places that were having trouble growing, like deforested areas, pollution, that sort of thing. They could change the world by creating a chemical that could just stimulate growth in places that weren't there before, unlimited plants, unlimited, food, so to speak. And, when he was doing, there were like organizations that wanted to take his research for their own nefarious purposes. He turned them down. And, as revenge, one of the organizations he turned down sabotaged his lab with an explosion. He was caught in the explosion and mixed with his own chemicals and turned into the Swamp Thing. That was his original origin. The show is not going there. You know, it doesn't look, at least from this first episode, that Alec had anything to do with the creation of whatever this chemical is that's being dumped in the lake. It's something somebody else is doing, and he's trying to investigate it and gets mixed up in it and caught in the explosion and shot. So that's different. You know, it's like he's caught up in somebody else's, you know, chemical weird stuff on the show, where in the comics it was his own. Maybe later on in the show they will reveal that, you know, the people dumping this stuff into the water, they took his research and adapted it. Like, they will find a way to link it back to him, something he did and he didn't know, or he was like, oh, this is my research. But as it is in the show, it doesn't appear that way. It appears that he's just someone investigating and got caught up in stuff. And that's how he turns into Swamp Thing. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, I thought it was suspenseful. I thought the performances were good. I am intrigued to see, you know, there's a lot of different characters in the show who have different relationships in this town. Like I was saying, the chess pieces are on the board, and I want to see, you know, how the writers weave the chess pieces together. Like, you know, Maria Sunderland, played by Virginia Madsen, doesn't like Abby. I'm sure, you know, that conflict, that friction is going to pop up in later episodes. How's that going to come together? Avery Sunderland, who's the father of the daughter Abby killed, you know, how is he going to relate to Abby? Is he going to be, like, giving her dirty looks and stuff? You know, how's that friction going to be? You know, and so on and so forth. There's all these characters in this town just waiting to mix it up together. And, you know, let's see what happens. But, you know, intriguing, good first episode. I'm excited to see what the next episodes have in store for us. And I will be here next week. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.